Oi, what's going on, guys? We're live with another episode, man. We got Jason Trimmins, man, the OG YouTube, Gloucester, Fish City's finest. Man, we got Ignorant already in the chat, man. This is gonna be a great live, bro. A little insight on a cool ass dude, bro, with a cool ass channel, man. Everybody likes his platform. Anybody, time you bring up Jason Trimmins, be like, oh yeah, Jay Trimmins, his videos on YouTube. They're like, oh yeah, I love that guy. So now he's here, man. It's your time to ask questions, man. Let us know what you're feeling about it. And we're gonna get into his life and just start at the lowest low and then work from the time he was, stuck in his drug addiction all the way until the time he started creating gangster videos and making it big on his platform with 30,000 subscribers. It's a lot of people. So imagine 30,000 people just standing around. It'd be a huge area. So
my block, man.
Yeah, right. So hey, what's going on, chat, guys? What's everybody here? Jason, just tell them what your name is, and obviously they know your name, but tell them where you came from, man. And let's start with your lowest low, man. So from the time that you remember being, stuck in the grips of addiction, what's the memory that first comes to you?
Of what? That's the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been bad for a long time, but it's probably around like 2012, 2013 started getting like really, really bad. That's when I started like overdosing. I got Narcan for the first time. I ended up going to jail. Like, I was all screwed up. Like my mother like turned me in. She thought she was like, something didn't happen. She's like, you're gonna die. So she knew I was like, I stole some jewelry from her. She knew I broke into one of her neighbors' houses and stuff. So my mom turned me in, but she was just trying to save my life basically. So that's how bad. I mean, if that's not kind of like,
that's a conversation sparker right off the rip, I guess, right? So your mom turns you in, right?
Yeah.
What are you feeling about that? Do you hold grudges against her for that? Why?
I mean, like, if anything, she should hold a grudge against me because I stole. I can't remember because I was so strung out, but I'm pretty sure I stole like a family, like it was like her grandmother's ring or something that was like special. It wasn't just like I stole some jewelry, but I think I stole stuff that was like important to like the family and stuff. So I should be more like ashamed of anything than holding a grudge against her because she honestly thought they were gonna give me help or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, they're just gonna send me to jail.
That's what citizens think is they have too much faith in the system is what I believe, dude. They really believe that they're just out to help us out and shit. They don't realize that we're just gonna get stuck in some like orientation or intake unit in some shitty county jail with no services whatsoever. Like, but
because then my probation officer was trying to get me to take the Salvation Army before that, and I was like, I don't want to go there. And so she kind of like thought like, oh, well, didn't they want you to go to the Salvation Army? I was like, yeah, that was before all this stuff. I was like, now they're just gonna can me, because I had like 9 months hanging over my head on probation, and then like I got like they sent me away for that, and then while I was in there, then they brought up the new charges for like the pawn and the jewelry and all. They ended up going to like this pawn shop, and they found out like my name was all over the book because they have to like log it in every time they make the sale, and I was all over the book. And they're like, "Why are you making so many sales?" And then they went to another pawn shop, and my name was all over his book, and they're like, "Whoa, what the? He's all over the place."
Yo, you got everybody from Gloucester showing up at the pawn shops. Like, I knew that little snake stole my ring.
Yeah. So they just kept seeing like multiple entries all over the different pawn shops areas. So then they go to my girlfriend's apartment to talk to me, and I'm not there because I was already in jail for the probation violation. So then they're like, "No, he's like, this kid's cooked." You know what I mean?
So is this like what drugs were you using at the time, if you don't mind me
At that
asking?
point, I was doing speedballs, like. It wasn't really any fetty then. It was still dope, you know what I mean? So I was shooting dope every day. I had a pretty solid dope habit, like a couple grams. If I would come up on extra money, like if I had a good day of like, stealing stuff and shit, like I'd do more coke and stuff like that. And then if I get my hands on benzos, I was eating those and, taking Suboxones if I was sick or whatever. But mostly just, shooting the real solid dope habit and doing speedballs and stuff like that. Back then.
And how were you supporting your habit back then? Just stealing?
Yeah, basically stealing. I was working at a restaurant and I was getting paid decent money. I was on salary. I was probably clearing like $800 a week, like 2012 was like good money. But I was working like 60 hours a week. But then I OD'd I didn't really. I did. I fell down in the dining room. They didn't knock me, but I fell out in the dining room after getting high in the bathroom. And then the boss was like, "Dude, like," so he fired me. And then I was like screwed. And that was basically like a month. That was like in September, and it was like end of October when I went to jail. So I was like basically just out there for like a month and a half, just stealing and ripping and raw. You know what I mean? Just being, you know.
Were you ever able to hold a serious job the whole time you were like?
Yeah, basically, all through being strung out on OCs in the early 2000s and sniffing dope and even early shooting dope, I always had a job. I used to work, you know, warehouses, construction, landscaping, a lot of cooking jobs. I cooked for a long time, line cook. I had like sous chef jobs. I even had a head chef job one time. But yeah, I always worked really. I've always worked my whole life, you know. I would only really steal if I was really desperate, you know. So that's how you know if I was really. That's when I say like, what's your rock bottom? What's your worst using? I mean, that's when it really was like really started getting really, really bad because that's when I started like stealing a lot of stuff and doing stuff that I don't normally do. I'm not like I wouldn't consider myself like a criminal, you know what I mean? Like I don't steal stuff just to steal stuff.
Where it's hard to pinpoint your rock bottoms when you got like 10 of them at a time.
Exactly, yeah. Because then it's like I've had way worse things happen to me since then. So, but that's like when it really started getting really bad. You know?
I think it's more in line like what your emotional, you know, like how you view the situation emotionally. If you're like extremely devastated because of it, or if it's like a super shitty situation, but you're dealing with it all right. You know what I mean? So there's definitely levels to this shit.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And again, I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you were out there in the streets and you were using and stealing and doing all that shit, did you ever like see yourself doing anything like you're doing now? Like, did you have?
Yeah, like that's a good segue there. So it's like I always like kind of thought I could achieve more. I always felt like I was a real underachiever. I was like, you know, man, I never did really good in school. I was always interested in things and I thought I was smart, but I just never did good in school. But I always was like, man, I'm an underachiever. The jobs I used to work, I'd be like, man, I could do better than this. And I would hope to be in a better place, but I just kept like self-sabotaging, getting in my own way. I'd always start using drugs and just, you know, toxic relationships. So I'd always just get in the way of myself, like being successful or being somewhere that I wished I could be. You know what I mean? I always wanted to do something creative. As a kid, I always was like coming up with stories, writing stories. Like my father used to borrow his friend's camera like on the weekends and we'd film like little Indiana Jones movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I've always been like creative as a little kid. I've always wanted to like write.
That's like Steven Spielberg. Like fucking making movies, remember? They made the movie.
Yeah, me and my buddy Rory Donahue used to have like almost like a thing going back and forth, like battle. He would have like he had a Batman. He had his dad film and do like a Batman movie, and he had all the people act and direct in it. And then I did like the Indiana Jones movie. And it was like a thing we had going, like a contest to see who was like. But like I've always been into it, like. Since I was a little kid, like I've always loved movies and been into reading books, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not stupid. I always knew I was like decently smart kid. I hated school and I never did well in school. But I if I like something, if I'm interested in something, then I'll be all about it. You know. So it's just like, but my parents never really supported that kind of stuff. They thought that was like fun to do stuff like that, but it's not like a serious thing. Like they were very blue collar minded. Like you got to work, you got to either go to school, you got to work. Like you can't make like movies and stuff. That's like, you know, that's not real. So
at what point do you kind of do you realize like I've had enough with the drugs and now I want to do something different? And like exactly where are you in life when that's going on?
Yeah, so I had a couple of those moments. Like I had a real serious moment like in 2015. And my father's friend who worked at the Aston Gilbert Hospital, my dad, he worked at this Discover program. It was like an aftercare program. I'd been there like a million times. And he kept trying to tell me, you need to go to long-term care. You need to go to like a long-term program. I never wanted to. I just wanted to go to detox, get like, you know, a little kind of spin dry, then come back out. You know what I mean? So my tolerance would be like lower. I'd be a little healthier or whatever, you know, go away for like a week or two. And so finally, like one day, like I went to the emergency room twice, and like one day I would do like same time twice in one day. And he came down, and he was like, you know, you were willing to talk to me. And I was like, my girlfriend was like moving back to the Cape. My landlord was like, you can't live here without her. If she's not on the leash, you can't live here. So I was like, I knew I was like about to be homeless. Like I just OD'd like twice in one day. I was like, yeah, I guess I'll, if you can get me into a place, I'll go. So he kept calling places. And like the 7th program he called was like, we'll give him a scholarship. So like all I had to do was get a plane ticket. My father thought it was like some sort of scam. I'm like, all I need is a plane ticket to Florida. And he's like, this is fucking no. I was like, Dad,
these old school fathers. My dad thought college was a scam. I'm like, Dad, I'm going to college. I'm like, can you look over this? He's like, you're gonna get robbed. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I'm an idiot. No,
yeah, my dad. He's like, yeah, he was like, it was hard to get the couple $100 out of him, but he finally came up with it.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, hey, he did it for you, bro, and that's the
yeah. And it was like a life-changing experience. I went down to this place called First Step. It was in Pompano Beach, Florida, and I was in like the intensive program for like 2.5, 3 months, and then I was in a halfway house for like a couple months. I was clean for maybe like about 6 months, and then I started drinking. I got a job, and I wasn't going to meetings, and it was weird, like. In Florida, if you don't have I don't drive, and I own my license still from when I was a kid. And if you don't drive, it's very spread out. It's not like Massachusetts where you can just jump on the train or jump on the T, or like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. When I got out of the program, I was like, everything was a little more spread out. I got kind of disconnected, and I didn't really have like my tight group that I had like when I was in the program. I kind of started drifting off, you know what I mean? But so I learned a lot about myself when I was in the program, though. So that was like a really good learning experience. But
let me ask you about the program real quick, because it's Florida and it's a detox. So what my mind goes like Malibu's, whatever.
Yeah.
Is it like that? Is it like
that's really funny you mentioned that. So like I had to detox in Massachusetts first because I had Mass Health, so I went to High Point and then I went down there. So like I go. My dad picks me up from High Point in Plymouth and then brings me right to the airport, and I fly there. Now I'm expecting what you're saying. It's like 2015. This is before everybody knew about these like kind of like places down in Florida. This place was like legit. It wasn't like a sketch place, but it wasn't. I was expecting to get like acupuncture and massages, and people like they're gonna put a robe on me and be like, they'll take care of you, don't worry. Like maybe some comfort meds, you know what I mean? Because I'm still kind of detoxing. I go down there and it's like this dude, Gus Crocco. It's like this little like jacked Italian dude with like Just for Men dyeing his hair and beard and stuff. And he's from New York and stuff. And he's like, dude, this guy is nuts, but he like really cares about people. But the first day I was there, he was like this girl who was like a stripper when she was getting high. And he's like, you do a dance for me and da-da-da. And like, he's talking to the girl and like, he pulls out money and he starts like throwing money at her and she's like crying. And he's like calling her like a whore basically and stuff like that. And like, I'm like, dude, where the fuck am I? Like the first day I'm like, dude, this place is fucked up. You know what I mean? And it's like, the more and more I'm there, I'm like, dude, this is not like what I fucking signed up for. It's like, he used to like basically bring people in a room full of like 100 people and just like break them. You know, if he thought like he was like basically like people he thought like addicts and alcoholics have like a false pride about them when they carry themselves like, oh, and it's like, how can you really be like walking around like your shit don't stink when all the stuff you've done? So he'd break people down if like they thought, and it was honestly he was doing it for their good, but I was not used to like the approach that he had.
Yeah, bro. I'm thinking like confidence boosters, not like
no, dude. He was like, dude, I saw some like, crazy shit. That guy definitely could have gone to jail for some of the shit like I saw there. But like,
dude, like, oh, you feel like using drugs, do you, little skanky bitch, huh?
Yeah, like, dude,
this be $20. You're blowing me right now. You feel like using drugs? Like, yeah, it's like I thought you were my counselor. Like,
dude, this kid was like. This kid used to wrestle for like some big college, like Ohio State or somewhere out in the middle of the country. And Gus, the kid was like, I want to leave. I want to get high. And Gus is like, I'll give you $100. Like for you first get high right here. He's like, you just got to wrestle me for it. And the guy's like, dude, I'm not going to wrestle you. And Gus is like 60 years old, dude. He's like, no, you got to wrestle me. If you want to get high, you want to go get high. And I'll give you $100. But you got to wrestle me first. And they're like, no. And then Gus starts pushing him. Like, come on. And like they end up starting going at it. And like kid like fucking picks him up and drops him like on his head. You know what I mean? Because the kid's like a wrestler, dude. It was like serious. They're going at it. Like you kind of fucked the old guy up, you know? And he's crying, blah, blah, blah. Like all this stuff. Everybody's all freaking out there. The long story is the kid didn't go get high. He ended up staying in the program. He completed it. He did good stuff. And like, he almost like fucking killed the guy Gus got into a physical altercation with one of the kids. Like he was willing to sacrifice like his body physically to like stop this kid from getting high.
Yeah.
He's like, he knew if he could get him out of that train of thought, whatever he was in right there, he knew he really didn't want to get high. He was upset about something that probably had nothing to do with anything. He was going to go ruin his life about it. He's like, come on, man, you got to go through me first if you want to get high, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like reverse psychology. That's exactly what that is.
Some of the shit I saw that was wild, bro. Like,
yeah, that sounds ridiculous. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that before, man. But I think that there's definitely different approaches to this recovery field, because it's definitely not a science. But I've never heard of nothing like that before. That dude was a gangster, huh? He's like wrestling for it.
Yeah,
great. He takes his shirt off, throws some oil on that.
Yeah. We did this kid with this kid Shane. It was like, I forget what he called it. It was almost like an exorcism. He had like fucking like 5 of us. He's like, pick your best friends, they're in here. He had like 5 of us come out. He laid on the floor and he had us like hold him on the ground. And then Gus basically like kneeled over and was like talking shit to him. He started like kind of like not really slapping him hard, but kind of slapping him. And the kid couldn't do anything. We were all holding him and we were like, come on, Gus. Like, this is getting a little ridiculous. But it was like, he was trying to get like, because the kid was so reserved and like never said really what was on his mind. He was trying to really piss him off. He's like, come on, fucking say what you really think. Come on, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, and so like, dude, you just did a lot of crazy shit. And I was like, wow, man. Like, but it reflected to me like that he actually cared. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
it came off that way.
It wasn't like malicious or anything, but
it came off.
Probably technically go to prison for a lot of shit.
Right? Yeah. Fucking what about you? Did he ever come at you like that?
No, dude, like a couple times. Like I used to like sometimes we'd go like for a lunch break, and then like it'd be like an hour. We go eat and have like a little break, and then we come back for afternoon. And in the afternoon we have like gender groups, and it was split between guys and girls. And I'd fall asleep in a gender group like all the time. And he'd come in there sometimes, and I'd legitimately be like snoring. It's like, who the fuck is that kid? Is that the kid I gave the scholarship to? And he'd come and like kick my seat, you know what I mean, to wake me up and stuff. And I'd be like, oh my God. I never wanted to get picked. Like he'd be like, we'd break into smaller groups and stuff. But then if we were in big group, it would be like 100 kids in one room, basically. We'd break into smaller groups, like 15 groups, 15 people, 20 people. But sometimes there's a big group. And I'd always like never want to make eye contact with him. I'd always be like looking at the ground, like, please. He's like, who needs some work today? Huh? Who's having some issues? Hey, buddy. I'd always be like, no. Because it's just like, you don't want to be.
You don't want no smoke with this dude, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because you never knew what he was gonna say or do.
Right.
And then, like, if you say the wrong thing, I just didn't want to like have him break me down in front of everybody. Get me like crying and shit, you know.
Yo, you're funny. Yo, so what happens after this program? You leave there traumatized and obviously psychological help, but other than that, like, what, you go home.
So I went to like the halfway, and like I said, it was like going from a really intensive doing the groups all day long, having your counselor and stuff, to then you go to kind of halfway, and then a couple nights a week you have like a 1 hour like aftercare group. And it was like the guy Marty was kind of I just didn't really like him, and just it was totally different. And I just kind of like, my group got kind of smaller. I just hung out with the kids that were in my halfway house, and my roommate was like a cool kid who was in my program, and we used to go to the like UFit, the gym around the corner, and work out. But I just started getting like kind of withdrawn, and then like I said, I got a job, and I started hanging out with people who weren't like in AA and stuff, and I started drinking, hanging out with other people, and just I got high once down there, dude, and I got caught. Somebody like I think somebody saw me that I was in the program with, or like in halfway, because then the night that I got high during the day, that night, like a kid came with a cup and was like, "Oh, blah, blah." I was like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody obviously said something. Yeah. So
let's talk about that real quick too, because it brings me to a different topic. It's not the same recovery topic, but it's jail, right? Like getting told on and getting urines. It just kind of made me think of it, and I was thinking about asking you about your experience in jail. Anyways, do you mind if I talk about your experience in jail?
Yeah, sure.
So when did you go to jail for the first time? How long? And where'd you go? And like, what was it like?
First time I went to jail was in 2001. It was in June. I was 18. I got 90 days. I had a year suspended because I got caught selling weed in high school. So I was on probation. I had a bunch of other like minor possession of alcohol, minor possession of Class D, or just Class D because it was illegal then. I had an open OUI, drunk driving, and then I had the car accident. I had so much shit, dude. So I got like arrested at high school with like an ounce of weed. They gave me like a year suspended sentence, probation. In September, that was like in March. In September that year, I got into a car accident, really bad car accident, broke my leg. I was drunk.
Yeah. I remember you telling me.
I had like a case, so I had that case like open, like they couldn't really do anything. I was in the hospital for like over a month. That was really fucked up. I have a titanium rod in my leg. So then June of the next year, so this is like not like a little over of a year, like 15 months, I get another OUI. When I get that OUI, the judge is like, that's it. So like in Gloucester, they let me go home. Like I got arrested that night for the OUI. They let me go home, take a shower. I had to go to the old Ipswich court. It's not even open anymore because I got the weed case. I was in Hamilton Wenham High School. So they got sent to the old Ipswich District Court. That was
what happened with that though? You said you had a weed case, but would you get caught with weed in school or something like that?
Yeah, I got called 8/8 all broken up, and Alan's all broken up. This kid, Elliot Brown. I talked about it on when I did that Certified Hustle podcast. This kid I grew up with in Rockport. I played baseball with, and we used to do like go fishing and stuff. He went to St. John's Prep for like a year or whatever. He got kicked out, and he started going to Hamilton Wenham because his parents moved to Wenham. Went to Hamilton Wenham for like a week. And he got like, he was such a hot box. He got into trouble, and he told on me basically. That's what the police report said. They said, "Where'd you get your weed from?" He goes, "I don't know, but Jason Trimmins sells a lot of weed in school." So I was like, I didn't even know about it till like 4 or 5 months after it happened, though. So basically, I was
pointing fingers. He's like, I don't mean to point any fingers, but
yeah, exactly, because he had like $500 and like 2 bags of weed, and they were like going to charge him with selling pot if he didn't tell on somebody. That's what they told. Yeah. So whatever. So finally, so Judge Moore is like, out of that year suspended from the weed, he made me serve 90 days. He's like, you got to go to jail. He's like, this is crazy. You got so much stuff going on. He's like, I don't want to be the first one to send a kid to jail who's never done. I never went to DRS or anything like that. I came from a halfway decent family. Like I never, just a normal kid who like clearly got real sidetracked real fast. You know what I mean? And so he was like, I don't want to be the one to do it, but you got to fucking go to jail. This is crazy. You're going to kill somebody. You're out of control. You got 2 OUIs in like less than a year. So they gave me 90 days. I went to Middleton, and it was way different back then in 2001. You come in and like, they like have intake. They used to actually physically take your blood. I told them I drank every day. So they gave me like Librium and Clonidine and stuff.
Yeah. The Librium Clonidine, that's like a cup they give to everybody that goes.
Yeah, they don't give you shit now. They don't give you shit. Like, I don't know about now, but like back in like the 2000 teens and shit, they wouldn't give you anything.
I know.
Unless you actually really had a benzo script or you were like going to have a seizure on alcohol. So, but the thing is like, they had you in like a new man. So it was like segregation 120A, and the top tier was new man. The bottom tier was like segregation for like, getting in trouble. So my first introduction to jail as an 18-year-old kid, never going to DOS before, was going into New Man and being in 23-hour lockdown, and like the all night down below in the hole, they're yelling, "King Killer, G Killer," and all this shit. Like, I'm gonna fucking blow your baby mama's house up when I get out and shit. And like all this stuff. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't know what was going on, dude. I was like horrified. You know what I mean? My celly's fucking detoxing. He's shitting, fucking going, this Puerto Rican kid. And I'm just like, I was scared to death. I was like, want somebody to tell me like what was going on, like why this was happening. And he was just like, he wouldn't talk to me for like the first 5 days till they started feeling all right. And then, and then
did anybody approach you? Did anybody approach you, like anybody you know and shit, like you knew from the streets?
Yeah, I mean, I saw some kids from Gloucester in there. I mean, there was like a lot of pressure back then to kind of like to join different things, and some kids like that were around my age that were from Gloucester like join different cliques and stuff like that. But that was so far removed from that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know.
It's not your thing. Some people they what they do is they compromise, and I've seen this over and over again throughout my life. So people go to prison, they go in there, they're not racist, they're not in a gang, and they don't have nothing like that going on. But then all of a sudden they get around some people, and now they want to be a white supremacist. They're saying word and acting like they don't like other races, or they I just see it's like phony shit. But you see it. You know what I mean? Not everybody's like that. There's those people that are, though. You know what I mean? And they take all those like movie portrayed images to the max. Like they go into the fucking Walpole, like right when they get upstate and they start acting like a movie style tough guy. And it's like that shit don't work, bro. It gets you hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like what I'm not trying to speak for anybody else and say why other people make the decisions they do, but the kids that I knew from like where I came from that joined certain things or like were acting like you were saying, pretending to be, it's like I almost like was like it was like they were kind of scared of something that might happen, so they wanted protection or whatever. And the way I felt about it was, if I just act like the way I am and just kind of mind my own business and just be respectful and stuff to people, I don't think anybody will bother me. I'm hoping they won't, because like they would suck if they do, but I don't think usually people don't really fuck with me unless I fuck with them or do something wrong. So I'm just going to keep that frame of mind. And the first time I went there in 90 days, that was basically what happened. So then I just was, so once that was kind of like reinforced, I just kind of stayed with that every time I went back there. I just did like my own thing, and people I knew I talked to, and people who I knew were like trouble I stayed away from. I was like, that kid will get me fucking in trouble hanging out with him. He always is owing people money or owing people canteen or what, you know what I mean? Like, saying things I shouldn't be saying.
Let me ask you this, right? This is kind of something I've always thought. Did you ever run into any of the people like you were making videos and talking about? Did you ever like bump into them in the counties and be like, hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, well, in jail?
Yeah, like when you went to jail.
I know I haven't been to jail. I've been to jail since 2017 is the last time I went to jail. And I was only there for like a couple months. So, I mean, most of my time I did was 2001, 2002, 2003. I was there. I was from 2001 to 2004. I was in and out all the time. From like 18 to 22, I was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And I stayed out for like 8 years till 2012 when I was saying about when I was all fucked up. My mom turned me in. I did about a year for that. I got the 9 months that I had suspended, and they gave me like a year concurrent with that for the jewelry stuff. And then 2017, I got a assault and battery, and I went in for like a couple months, and then ended up coming out and doing probation and stuff like that. So I haven't been in. So I have had to deal with people that have made videos about, not in jail though.
Right. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But hey,
not in a jail setting though. But that would probably if I had to go to jail. If I had to go to jail today, it would probably not be too fun. I'd have to like probably talk to some people and deal with some shit. It probably wouldn't be the funnest thing.
Why do you think that though? I think this, right? I think that a lot of the people that are in prison or in jail, the ones that like, had something to do with videos, either are neutral, they don't think it causes them any harm whatsoever, they like them. And then there's that small few that might be a little pissed off. And that's the type of thing that happens when you're making YouTube content. And don't get it wrong, and it could happen to me. I mean, I could be talking and unwittingly I mentioned something that somebody, and it's like they feel some type of way about, could cause them no harm whatsoever in reality, but it's just that they don't, you know what I mean? And maybe it causes them no harm at all, at all, period. But they just don't like it or something. They get mad, catch feelings, and say something, whatever, you end up. But it's just like, that's the type of risks you take when you're making content, especially content about gangsters and crime and the underworld and stuff like that. But and you spent your own time in the underworld. You spent your own time in jail, in addiction, committing crimes. Maybe it wasn't like criminal underworld type crimes, but it was more to support your addiction. But still, it's like you've seen that side of life.
Yeah.
When you were in jail, did you ever get sent to solitary confinement or segregation or get in fights or anything?
Yeah. So like when I was in that 2012, like the 2012, 2013, my addiction like didn't really stop. Like when I went to jail, I was getting high, like in jail. And I had a girlfriend like that was on the outside, and she was really naive, and her like family was kind of wealthy. So I kept telling her this, I just kept making up stories about why this money needed to go to this place or this, but she had probably like a million different people that she's put money on people's books and stuff. So I was just constantly like, the first time I went to the whole, it was like a cigarette run at the farm. They were like, some kid would go like run out the back door and try to like because the farm's like right on like I think it's 495 or 93. It's on some highway right there. So they'd run to a gas station. It was like a gas station within 10 minutes. So there's a count every hour at the farm because there's no walls or anything. It's a minimum security. So people would do. So people do that. So like this kid.
How did they get out though? Like what? How did they get out?
You can just go. You just go out. You just go out those doors. People go out on work.
Open doors?
What's that?
It's an open door facility.
Yeah, like, it's a pre-release at the
pre-release.
Yeah, at the farm. Okay. They call it the farm. It's a pre-release, like a minimum security pre-release. So you gotta be back for count every hour. But for the hour, like now there's getting more cameras and stuff, and that's what ended up happening. It's like I opened the door for this kid Mark, and then me and my buddy Stevie were pacing back and forth in the hallway, like waiting for him to come back, and he got caught coming back, and he was outside like in the snow running around. The cops would chase him and tackle him with all the cigarettes and stuff. So they end up coming lugging us like later that night or in the morning because they went back and watched the tape and they saw me open the door, and then me and Steve were clearly like pacing back and forth and whatever. So we went to like the hole, and then I got tested dirty for Suboxone, and then I was home on the bracelet and I was getting high, and the OCC kept testing me, and I kept testing negative because it was a 5-panel test, and then they did a special for me, and I tested positive for Suboxone, and they came in. I was on like a Friday night. I was watching like the Bruins, and my full girlfriend she was working as like a waitress, and I was home like when she left for work, and she came home and I was gone. She's like, "The fuck happened?" She thought like I tried to like escape or something, but they come back and take me to jail. So. But they brought me right back to the hole. And I ended up wrapping up. That was kind of a crazy story. So I wrapped up from the hole. It was like June, the middle of June, really nice. And I did like the longest stretch I ever did in the hole. Probably it wasn't that long, but it was longest for me. It was probably like 40. It was less than 2 months. It was like 45 or 50 days or whatever. But I literally walked out with the handcuffs on through the courtyard in Middleton into intake. They brought me into a room, took the cuffs off. I did all the stuff, put my clothes on, walked out the door. My girlfriend was right there, and 5 minutes later I was smoking weed in the car. Like, what the fuck? I was just in the hole like an hour ago.
Yeah, what's that feeling like? Like,
yeah, that was a trip. Yeah, that was a trip.
Like almost surreal. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yeah. Yeah,
I was like bugging like the night before, like this cool kid Hawk, I think was his like street name, from Lynn, like real dark skin black kid, and he was like, dude, you gotta chill. Like the night before I would not sleep. I was just in the window like all night, like, oh man, I hope they're gonna pop the door in the morning, dude. I hope they got the fucking day right. You know what I mean? Like you just feel so cut off like when you're in the hole sometimes. You know what I mean? Like the caseworker came like the week before and told me like, this is your date. I'm like, it's really my date. He's like, this is your date. Yeah. I'm like, okay. They end up giving me like my good time and stuff, like just like maxed me out. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm getting out of here. Like, so, but you don't really know until you're there, but it was surreal. Like you leave the hole and like you're out in the courtyard, it's real bright and shit. You're like, wow, it's wicked bright. Yeah. You know, because I was in the hole for almost a couple months. So it's like,
really?
Yeah. Because in Middleton, the hole, there's no clock. You don't know what time it is. They're always putting the fucking black magnet strips up on the windows. You can't see up the windows. Anything's going on. Someone's always acting up. So they're always macing somebody and it comes through the vents. You can fucking feel it and stuff. Like that place sucks, dude. You don't come out on the weekends at all out of your cell. Like you come out 1 hour, like chained up. You only can take showers on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know, people will still even do stupid shit with shackles on, try to hit somebody, and then your 1 hour record's taken away. It's like,
yeah.
And it's like they never really give you an hour either. It's like I was like, dude, we're out here like 20 minutes because there's no clocks. You can't really tell. You know what I mean? It's like
they rob you like a motherfucker. Yeah. Everywhere it does that. You're wrecked. You get smashed. They come late and then pick you up early. Like, but let me ask you this: so being a person that has never really spent time in prison, never spent time in DYS, that's probably what your first time in segregation, right? Or close to it, maybe. What is it like being incarcerated where you're locked in a single cell by yourself for 24 hours a day, just being a person that's never dealt with that before? Like, what's the feeling like?
With a cellmate, it was okay. Like a decent cellmate, you can talk and tell stories and stuff. That's not too bad. It's still, I'm kind of an anxious person, so it's not, and I'm a person too that like, I don't like being contained. I like nature. I like to walk and fresh air and like the breeze and the ocean smell and stuff. So it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. Like, so yeah. I mean, but then I remember when I had like probably a week or to 10 days by myself in a cell, and that was rough, dude. Right. I remember the chaplain came by and I was like, "Can can I get one of those Bibles, bro? He actually got one for me and brought it back. And I was like, I read like all the Gospels of like the New Testament, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Dude, like I was like, yeah, it was.
It'll make you get religious real quick.
Yeah, like you just with the time, it just, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Them counties the holes in the county are a lot worse than the ones upstate. And at least the ones upstate, they know guys are doing long stretches. They're gonna give you, certain little things like your radio or your tablet and your book. But you get lots of books, you get access to books, and you could buy little things off the canteen. But you are in a single cell all the time. Like there's like 4 cells on each side of the tier in the max with double cells in those cells, but I don't like being in those double cells when I'm in the hole. Yeah. I hate having a cellmate in the hole.
See, I think if I had books and radio, I would probably prefer to be by myself too. Then, you know what I mean? I think the cellmate was just because they don't give you anything in Middleton, dude. Like literally, you have to beg the runner to give you a pencil and some scraps of paper and shit. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to have you books. Like you can get the Bible. That's it. You have to beg like the chaplain to give you a Bible. Basically, that's the only book until you get like off of your Sometimes you're still in the hole, but you've already done your ticket time. You know what I mean? And once you've done your time, you're still, and they'll give you your shit back, stuff like that. But besides that, like they don't give you nothing in Milton.
That's ADSEG. Yeah, ADSEG, administrative segregation for people who can't go back out to population for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And everybody that's in the chat right now, salute to everybody. Mike Eels, Louis Alves, my Bay, Bats Out and About, Steven Medeiros, Ain't Ignorant, man. Fucking everybody, dude. K Razy. Thank you for that super chat, man. I appreciate that. Anybody wants to ask Jason any questions? I'm gonna, I'll start looking at this chat a little bit more right now. I'll start paying attention to the chat a little bit more because everybody who is here is definitely interested in Jason's story. And I'll have a minute to, ask him the questions that you guys ask me. So if there's anything that you guys want to know, just ask me. Or if there's anything you want to know from me, ask me. But let's get back to Jason's story real quick. Oh, also real quick, another quick reminder, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And if you want, you could become a member for $2.99. You can join the growing army of members that I have already. Great people, great community. We got the community chat or the inner circle posts on my community board. So you can go check that out for members only. So, and then you got, of course, the members only videos and exclusive perks. So make sure you become a member, man. If you can, $2.99. It's not much and it's worth it. Also, you could share my videos to wherever, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Anyways, right. So Jason, so you deal with all this solitary confinement time. I feel like it's a good question to ask is, did it affect you mentally after you were done with it? Did you notice anything that like it affected you in any type of way?
No, not mentally, but I did actually have some weird physical shit that like happened like a week or two after I came out. My feet and my ankles started getting fucking mad swollen and stuff. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have health insurance. I went to the clinic and the lady had no idea. And I ended up going to the emergency room. My feet were mad swollen up and they thought I had like a blood disease. And he's worried long story short, it was like basically from not moving around and stuff like that. My joints just got like whatever. I don't know if just my body's not used to it or whatever. But like I had my feet and like my ankles and shit. They were like it was weird. They were like itching and I started like itching like crazy. Like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden they started swelling. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yo, so your ankles were itchy? Because my ankles itchy as fuck. Like I've been like the last like month or something, and I've been like, what the fuck, man? Because I thought it was from my like socks just being tight or something, but I don't wear socks like that. I have ankle socks. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But yeah, I might have to talk to you about that after, bro.
It was like some sort of weird circulation thing or something like that. And it was like right after I got out and I'd been in the hole. So the only thing I could think of was like I just was laying around all day or just standing there, not really doing anything. I wasn't really like doing mad push-ups or anything. I just was kind of more just stressing out, like thinking about getting out in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it did kind of like help me though for long periods after that, like years after that. If I was going through tough times, I'd be like, dude, remember how you were feeling back like stuck in that fucking cell by yourself and stuff, and just being like, dude, I remember seeing this kid Ian Rivers I've known forever, dude. He's like from Beverly but used to live in Gloucester, like work on fishing boats, and he was like on 240B, like on the workers block, and I seen him out the window of the hole, and he was mowing the lawn. And I remember like being in the hole, wishing I could trade places with him. He's just another inmate. He's still in jail, but he was mowing the lawn and being like, I just fucking wish I could be out there mowing that lawn, dude, instead of stuck in this fucking cell. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, you know what I mean? So I after that experience, I used to go back to that in my mind mentally. If I was going through a tough time, like this ain't shit compared to that, dude. So
man, bro, I remember being in on a suicide watch cell, right? I was butt naked. The cops had wiped me down, so I was stitched up. I had stitches in my face. I had plastic surgery on my face. And I was just like, that was probably that was close to a rock bottom. You know, one of the many rock bottoms that we all go through. But I remember thinking I would rather be a bum on the streets. I'd rather be a naked bum on the streets without newspapers. I don't give a shit. In the middle of fucking winter, with no access to running water or food, I would take that in a heartbeat. You could transplant me from my cell to a friggin' street corner anywhere in the world. Like, I'll take that with nothing, dude. Like,
I've thought that before too.
Yeah,
because like you get like your life starts to suck, and you think about like crashing out and stuff, and it's like, dude, I'd rather be fucking homeless or whatever the fuck is going on with my life right now. I'd rather deal with that than go back and be stuck in a cell. And then you got no options. You can't do anything. You know what I mean?
Word. Jason, you got a question. So someone's Sean M. I don't have my mouse with me, so I can't put the chat up on the big board. But Sean M said, can you do a video on the Charlestown massacre at the 99 restaurant?
I did an early one. I could probably do another one because since I did it so long ago, it was like such a low quality one. I could do another one though. That's a crazy topic though. Yeah. Damien and Anthony Clemente Sr. They're doing natural life in Wal. I don't know if they're still in Walpole, if they're somewhere else, but they're doing natural life in Mass State Prison. So Damien Clemente, the son, he was like, I think he was only 19. The kid was young. You know, I don't even think he was like in his 20s. He was selling some weed, selling a little coke in the North End. And that dude, Bobby Luisi, who used to have the show there, his father, Bobby Sr., and his brother Roman were like terrorizing everybody. This is the late 90s. Almost everybody's off the street. So they're shaking everybody down the North End. They started telling Damien, like, you either got to kick it in or like you can't do what you got to do. So they harass him. And then like his father, Anthony, went to like Bobby Sr. was like, hey, leave my kid alone. He's a good kid. He's young. He don't know what he's doing. Just like leave him alone. It kept escalating. Like the night before, I guess they got into like a fight or whatever. And I don't know, threats were made. So the father said, just stay away from him, stay out of the North End. So the kid, Damien and his friend were in the 99 Charlestown eating lunch. And Bobby and Roman, the whole fucking entourage shows up in the restaurant at the same time. So the kid starts freaking out, like thought they were after him, whatever. He calls his dad. His dad was like a Vietnam vet. And at this point, he was like, something tripped in his mind and he was ready for war or whatever. And he showed up fucking all set to go. And basically it escalated and he pulled out his gun and he shot like everybody at the table. You know what I mean? The father, I think he killed Bobby Sr. and Roman, I believe. And I think their cousin too, and they hit another guy. It was crazy. I think 3 or 4 people got killed.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so those dudes are doing life sentences right now.
Anthony and Damien, the father and son, are doing life. Damien, okay. I think he might have shot one of the guys, but I don't even know if he pulled his gun out. I think his father whacked the gun out of his hand and just started clipping everybody.
Word,
his father went Terminator mode. Story. Yeah, Anthony went Terminator mode. He wasn't even a gangster either. He was like a he was just a dude. He was a vet. He was a Vietnam vet and stuff like that. So he felt like his family was being threatened. So
gangsters is a state of mind, bro.
You push people too far and threaten people's family, dude. People will snap. So you can't.
Fact, bro. That's exactly what I just said too. When you were talking, I'm like, that's like an issue. That's like an episode of Snap. You remember the crime show Snap? Like that's like a straight up episode of Snap, bro. But let me ask you.
He's like, he's like, they had to kill my son. I have to save my son. He showed up at the restaurant, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So let me ask you a question about this, right? So you're clam digging, right? And how do you get into the whole gangster video genre in the first place? Like what happens? What
So I
transpires
got like I had like a Best Buy laptop. I still had like some credit at this point. I got like a Best Buy laptop, a credit card. I got a laptop. I got a GoPro. I got a head mount, a chest mount, all this GoPro stuff. And I was gonna make a clamming YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I'm like people will watch this stuff. They'll think it's cool, blah blah blah. So I get it. I'm filming stuff. I can't get the stuff from the GoPro off of the GoPro onto my computer to edit it. Yeah. I have all this footage. I have my friend whose dad owns a computer shop come over, and my kid's mother was living with me and my oldest daughter. She's like better with computers than I am. She couldn't figure it out. Nobody could figure it out. So I'm like all frustrated. I got all this shit and I can't use it. So my daughter and her mother ended up leaving, moving out. They were only staying with me temporary till they got a new place to go live. And I was kind of depressed because, you know, I was bringing my daughter to the bus stop every day and I liked having her. I missed living with her because I used to live with her when she was little. And so I got the laptop out of the closet and I just started making videos. I started my first videos. If you go on my channel, I like me doing top 10 lists. I'm just standing in front of my computer, just me in front of my computer. And I'm doing like top 10 rap albums, top 10 this, top 10 that. Yeah. And then I like made a video talking about like a Boston gangster or whatever. And like 100 people watched it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I said, maybe if it's not me in front of the camera, maybe people will watch it. If I'm talking about somebody and I put like a picture of that person instead of me, maybe more people will watch it. And I did that. Right. And like 1,000 people watched it. I was like, whoa, wow, maybe I'm onto something. So I just started like this little thing and I called it Gangster Profile. I was like, they seem to like so I started talking about like old Winter Hill, like old Boston mob stuff from like back in the day mostly. Yeah. And like I'm getting like 5,000 views. Like I remember I did a video about the guy who killed Whitey Bulger.
Yo, I was gonna ask you about that in this episode. I swear, I was in my mind. I'm like, do not forget about this. Don't forget about this.
I made a video about Freddie Gius, and that was like my first video get over 10,000 views. I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
That's what we're gonna talk about after this.
Then I started segueing like into like I was like, well, like I don't want just to be like mob stuff. I want to be like, I guess anything Massachusetts like underworld. So then I made like a video about Cambodian gangs from Lowell, stuff like that. So then people started really getting interested. And then I made a video about the 1990s mafia war. And that's like how I got like 1,000 subscribers and got monetized. But it brought me like, I pissed some people off the video. I learned a lot like about like what's okay to say and what to talk about. And I have to like clear certain stuff and like I have to be more mindful of what, you know, in that I didn't realize that I was going to have that kind of scope or like people were going to pay attention or really, it was a learning experience.
So how does it feel knowing that people actually pay attention to you and like take your words that seriously?
Well, that after that, so it's funny. So I made like a video about like rap or something after that. After that video, I thought I was kind of cool or something. You know, I was like, oh, people like me. So I made like a video about rap and like 200 people watched it. So then I realized real quickly, it's not necessarily just about me. Like they like me talking about stuff. Right. Sure. But it's about certain stuff. You know what I mean? Like I can't just make a video about anything. I can't just like walk around my apartment talking shit and people are going to watch it. Like I have to like actually like do research and make like a script and try to make like, I can't just put bullshit out because people get sick of that pretty quick. You know what I mean? So I learned that like, so like people definitely do listen to me and like me. And like, I learned that I can have a voice and I can have like an impact with what I say and stuff, but I have to be like aware of like, you know, I got to be aware of certain things though, because you can lose that pretty quickly. I feel like, you know, if you get kind of like too far off of like what your kind of lane is, you know?
Yep. And plus people, you know, you see other people getting big views doing certain things. And then you're like, oh, well, why can't, you know, but it's just not in your moral compass to be doing that. So it's just like, you got to make, you know what I mean? You got to make smart decisions for long-term growth rather than that quick short-term growth. But,
chasing that, because that's like people always told me too, you should have like something cooler for the channel name. My name Jason Trimmins because it's like that was my YouTube that I used to watch the videos on. It's like it's like the icon's just like a picture of me holding my daughter. She's a baby. Like it's just that was just already what I had. I didn't realize I could just upload. I thought you had to have like a special YouTube account to upload. I didn't realize you could just upload. That it's that easy. You can just upload right from that. So that's why, and I just left it as my name. But as I've gone, I'm glad that I've had that, because it gives me like accountability, so people know who I am. They can get in touch with me if they don't like something I'm doing. I've had multiple people reach out to me, people telling me like, just straight up like, don't fucking talk about me. Like I've had people threaten me. I've had people be really respectful, telling me like to guide me and saying like, just don't show certain pitches. Just don't talk about this case that's open right now. Just don't do this. So and like the whole moral thing of like, I learned kind of early about, so gotta have accountability with my name, and like I got little kids, and just I'm 40-year-old, I'm 42, you know what I mean? I'm not a little kid. So it's like I'm not gonna be chasing like trying to go viral or doing clickbait. Right. If it's gonna like, if I'm not doing something that's not right, like when that whole E3 thing happened and everybody in the world's making a video about it, I got like the live video like 2 seconds after it happened. I was in the city when it happened. A kid sent me a video like literally right after it happened. I could have been the first person to break that story. I could have gone viral, and I didn't. And then I made a video about it for like 4 days later, because like everybody in the world made a video, and I felt like I should just talk about it. Right. And then E3's brother hit me up and was like, at first it was like mad aggressive, and then we started talking it out. And then like I was just like, bro, like I felt so bad for him and his family. And I just took the video down out of like a moral thing, not because he was like threatening me or nobody was threatening me. Like, oh, if you're gonna be taking down videos every time somebody presses you, I was like, dude, nobody was pressing me, bro. Dude, what him and his family were going through and what they still go through is insane. It hasn't even been a year since that shit happened.
No,
so it's
that
like
was a bad one too. I still have the picture of the kid's body in my phone.
Dude, it's awful, bro. Like I talk to his brother like all the time, dude, on a weekly basis. A couple times a week, I talk to E3's brother still.
He'd be a good interview, bro. I'd like to get him on my channel, dude, if you wouldn't mind talking at some point.
I'll ask him, I'll ask him. He doesn't live like in Boston anymore after what happened and shit, but like he's still like not that far away. I talked to him though. I could ask him, It'd
be good to get his voice, you know what I mean? Like
I mean, I honestly think like when his family's ready about it, they should talk about it so people can understand like what they is really behind this drill music, and it's not just like dude, there's a lot of pain behind it and a lot of you know what I mean? It's just like it's not that shit ain't cool, man.
Bro, people don't understand the gravity of what it means to watch your friends get killed in front of your eyes, or fucking, being on the other end of the scope if that was your situation and you're still out here walking around. It's trauma. I mean, I don't know what that's like. I have never been, but I know what it's like to watch other people not live anymore, and I know what it's like to like fucking have like see that harsh violence and shit right in front of you. It carries with you, bro. Absolutely. If anything, it'll make you a little bit more of a harder person. You know what I mean? If at the very least, it's gonna make you a little harder.
It's gonna do something to you. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's trauma. That's like trauma. Seeing somebody die in front of you is very traumatic. Yeah.
I've watched the kid get stabbed in the face like 100 times right in front of my eyes. I've watched people get stabbed in the neck, slice their whole throat open, do like stabbed in the chest. In the back.
I don't like watching violent movies and stuff. Like, I don't know. Some people, I don't know. Some people it doesn't really bother them, or it makes them kind of like it more. I don't know. But like me, like seeing violence, I don't like it, dude. Like it's like a very necessary thing. Like if somebody's, I'm not gonna put my hands on somebody unless they're like trying to hurt me, or trying to hurt one of my family members, my kids or something,
Yeah, fact. You're gonna have to pull me way out of pocket to get me to do something, because I know the consequences for my life. You know what I mean? And I've already spoken about that. But it's like, again, like you can't just do anything. I'm not gonna let anybody do anything at all. Like not even.
Oh, yeah, you gotta protect yourself. Yeah, you can't let anybody violate you or do anything to like your family or kids or anything. But it's just like I just hate violence. I don't like to watch violence, like the hacker slasher movies and stuff like that. It's like I don't know, it just turns my stomach on,
So let me ask you a question. Someone asked me to ask you another question. It was about your Viking video. So they said, why did you do it was bats out and about, wanted to know why you ended up doing your Viking video. Said, Jay, what made you do the video on the Vikings in Massachusetts? It's crazy. I was just telling someone about some of the Viking history in Massachusetts. I just sent them your video. Great video, brother.
Thank you, by the way, Bats. I wanted to do that one for a while. Like I tried when I first started doing the videos too, I was like, I wanted to do like I know people like the gangster videos, but I wanted to still do I love history. That's my main love. And I was like, I wanted to start doing history videos. And I did a video about the Battle of Bunker Hill. Like when I very early started the channel, like nobody watched it. And I was like, I think if I had higher production, people might watch a video like that. So it was kind of like a trial type thing. Cause now I have like live stock video and it's a little bit better production stuff. And I saw I had some cool stock videos of the Vikings. And so it's a video I've wanted to, oh shit, I gotta plug my device in. Hold on.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, oh, I hope that's not mine.
So I've always wanted to do that. It was between doing that video about the Vikings and the Indians, or I wanted to do this old legend that Captain Kidd, like the famous pirate, that before he got captured in Boston, he hid pirate treasure somewhere around like the Massachusetts Bay Area, and like there's always legend that it was buried in Dogtown and Cape Ann. So I was just kind of like trying to just throw it out there to see. I'm always trying to do like some little different stuff every once in a while and just test the waters. And usually the waters are pretty cold. Like after this video, like before I went on, I think maybe like 200 people had watched it. And usually I get like, 600-700 views in the first hour or something. And it's like the first couple hours, I only got like 200 views. So it's like nobody's watching it. It's like 10 out of my last 10, but I'll keep trying with those videos because it's interesting to me. I like it. And it's like, I know some people out there will think it's interesting, and it's like, I always want people, even though I know people are going to think it's boring and most likely not like it, I still like have faith and we'll try that people will listen and learn something. I don't know.
Absolutely, bro. There's always those people that watch and learn some shit. Like even I've noticed on my lower view videos are the more powerful ones because they're the more positive ones, right? And so the comments are all like real powerful comments like, yo, dude, this video made such an impact on me, or like I really relate to this. Here's like they want to send money or they want to help. Like, and that's how I know that my videos are impacting people in the right way, because people will reach out and be like, look, man, I want to send you some money as a thanks for this, because like this video really meant a lot to me or something. And that shit right there is mad cool, bro. It happens more often than I would think, because like I never thought when I first started doing this that anybody would give a shit about my story, because everybody that I knew had my story. And now that I've been out here in the free world, and I realized that not everybody's been through, these ridiculously fucked up things that I've been through, or at least witnessed it firsthand to the point that they're, they don't think about it much anymore, think much of it. It's just another day. So like being able to tell this story to people that have never heard things like this before, they or the people that have and that have made it through themselves and are like, you know what, man, this shit's fire, bro. I haven't been able to think like this about these situations for years, blah, blah, blah. It's cool. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what's kept me going has been, especially when I first started going, like, and I was getting a lot of, before I hit like 10,000 subscribers, 5 to 10,000 subscribers, people used to talk like mad shit in the comments, like used to roast me and shit. Yeah. So like, I'd get some days be like, fuck this, I don't want to listen to this shit anymore. And then somebody would say something to me like, like, oh, like this one dude, Mike Gill, was one of the first early guys used to watch all my videos. And he was like on workman's comp. He could barely keep the lights on. He was married. He had kids and stuff. Things were really rough. And he was like, your videos when you first started got me through that time. And he's like, I'll always remember that time period. And like your videos, and like, he's like, it helped me put a bookmark on like a really difficult period in my life. He's like, and I'll always remember that. And like, that meant a lot when I saw that, and stuff like that will give me like the drive to keep making the videos. And some people telling me like, you really had an impact. You really helped me. And like, when I do, like we talked about making the best and worst recovery places in Massachusetts, so many people messaged and comment there and were like, bro, like, so that, I mean, obviously, like I'm doing it at this point to make money. When I make a video, I have some sort of expectation to make some sort of money for the time and effort I'm putting into it. And like the subscriptions, we're talking about the money for subscriptions and stuff for the different programs and blah, 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 blah. So it's like I have some sort of financial expectation, but more than that, like I do want to make like a positive impact on people's lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so how did you branch out from doing the videos that you were doing into like making these documentaries? Like, how did you do that, bro? How did you make that change? The big change, bro.
What, like
going out into the streets and actually.
Oh yeah, so that's something I wanted to do for a while. Like, I just like I couldn't get the GoPro to export. I had like a little camera stuff. So like I've always been like, man, because people always will, like, if I talk about a certain place or something, they'll be like, it's not really like that, or it's not that bad, or it's way worse than that, or what. So like I always thought, man, if I could actually go to the place and show it in real life, you know, then nobody can really say like it's this or it's that, because I'm showing it to you right there. So I've always wanted to kind of incorporate that. I just couldn't physically do it myself. I didn't have the right technology. I didn't know how to do it. So it's been difficult, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, how I've done my videos up until that is me on my laptop that I got from Best Buy, and everything I've done is like self-taught. It's gotten better as I've gone. It was really, really rough when I first began, and now it's gotten a little bit better. So a little more polished, but like I did everything by myself. It was a lot of work. And like when things would go wrong, I had no one to kind of back me up, but I didn't have to deal with anybody else or any personalities, or, so it's been hard, man. Like trying to get somebody to just, all I need is for them to film and then edit it the way like I want it to be edited. It's way more difficult than you'd expect. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't trust anybody to edit my videos for me. I do everything myself.
Everybody has to have some sort of I've worked with a couple different people now, and it's like everybody has to like have some sort of creative input or like spin or like whatever. And it's just like, man, like I don't need any extra. I really just need you to do what I don't know how to do. I don't know the technological stuff. Like I know creativity. Like I know the story I want to tell. I know exactly what I want you to do. I can't do it. So I need you to do it.
Yeah, I don't need you to. I can edit like a motherfucker, Jason. I don't know why you didn't. I would, but I do have a lot of my own going on, so that would be hard. But yeah, you find me.
I gotta take like some sort like because you were taking classes at the place in Cambridge and stuff. You learned a lot from that place in Cambridge, right?
I mean, I've learned a lot coming to the studio and doing the editing myself and starting off with the editing. So like I remember you said something about you didn't even try to start with Adobe, but like when you're forced to. When you like say you're forced to use Adobe now, you can't use nothing else. You don't have nothing else to use but Adobe. Figure it out. Figure it out. You'll figure it out. Yeah. It's just what we do. I mean, as creators and content creators, we have to do what we have to do to make sure our content's up, legit quality and engaging and keeping people entertained and informing them of the right things. You know what I mean? Just it's like pacing. There's so many different things to videos, bro. People don't really.
Yeah, I know. And then trying to like feel the temperature of the people too of what they want and to keep them interested. It's like it's getting harder and harder, man. People's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's like just like a YouTube thing, if YouTube's like losing people or if it's becoming oversaturated with content creator stuff. But I feel like people are watching. People are more like on TikTok and Instagram. I feel like those kind of platforms are getting more engagement than YouTube. You know what I mean?
Right. Different. It's different content though. It's
shorter form.
Yeah. Someone wants to know. So Mike Eels wants to know what you got planned for the future.
So for the like near future, we took a little break from doing the on location videos, but I have one set up for next week. It's a big one that I've wanted to do for like a while. So it's a week from tomorrow we're going, and I'm hoping it's gonna be a good video. Person's got like his whole neighborhood lined up from like, from the 70s, 80s, 90s up until today. And basically like what I want to do with these stories is like, I want to tell the story of like the neighborhoods and the cities and stuff and the places we're going, the history of it up until today. And then basically a trajectory into the future, because we're in such a transition period in Massachusetts right now with gentrification. Like within the next 10 years, like all of these cities are going to look completely different. They're in a transition right now where they're already starting to look different. And then within the next 10, 15 years, you won't recognize anything anymore, dude. Like,
so you're thinking so far in the future right now that you're thinking you're going to document the city right now as it is. And so that way your videos will stand as like a marker basically.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow, that's pretty dope, bro. I never even thought to
see. Then that's the thing is like the kids that I get in filming and stuff, they're not seeing that shit. Like we're in Somerville, bro, and it's cold out. It's real cold out. Every day we filmed, it's like the coldest friggin' day of the year.
I was supposed to be there that day. I remember. I didn't go. Miz invited me. I was supposed to go, and then he's like, "Oh, it was so cold that day." Miz invited me, but he's like, "Yo, bro."
Oh
so
yeah, the East Boston day. Yeah, dude, the both days were so cold, dude. Every day but my point is like the kid we're at the projects, dude. The Clarendon Hill projects. There's the old bricks, dude. and then there's high rises right around the corner being built. So in the next 10 years, those bricks are going to be gone, dude. The kid won't even walk around the corner. I'm like, bro. And then after I explain it to him, I'm like, bro, do you understand? We're documenting history. In the next 10 years, the bricks are going to be gone. Those new funky high rises are all going to be left. All this stuff's going to be gone, dude. And this is going to be a documentation of like that transition. So this is going to be like basically living history here. I guess it is pretty cool. I'm like, dude, will you fucking listen to me and trust me, bro? And stop fucking arguing with me every step of the way. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus.
Yeah. So dealing with a team, that's another thing you have to do. That's a whole other aspect of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm the one who has to organize everything with the contacts of the places we're going. I have the storyline. It's like everything's relying on me. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fucking pressure, dude. You know what I mean? Dealing with the people, the places we're going to, and then the people like that are working on the project with me as well. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like a lot.
So I remember I said I was going to ask you about Freddie Gius and all that, right? So let me do my fake crack knuckles real quick. And yo, what's up with Freddie Gius, man? Like, how did you get into that whole video? And like, what did you learn from it?
Well, I just looked on the internet and I noticed that there really wasn't any story about him in depth or anything. Yeah. Like Scott Bernstein from Original Gangsters did a little thing and stuff. So it was like I could tell it was probably a video that would do pretty good because there hasn't really been like an in-depth story on it. And I didn't really know much about him either. So a lot of these times when I get into these stories, it's kind of something I'm interested in, I want to learn about. And like I learn a lot as I go into it. So that was one of those stories that I really didn't know much about the guy. He was a really low-profile guy. Probably if you're outside the Springfield area, you wouldn't have really known him unless you did time in the feds or you were in that world connected with that. Because the Springfield crew, like they were a serious crew out there, but they're so far removed from the politics of Boston. I mean, they're with the New York family, they're with the Genovese family, so they're not even part of like the Boston or Providence mob. So, but like,
was he actually part of the mob though? Was
he's a Greek, so he's Greek kid. He's a Greek kid like me. See, that's Greek right there.
Okay.
He's a Greek kid like me, but so he couldn't be in the mob, but he basically did Anthony Ariellotta's dirty work for him. He killed people for him. Him and his brother Ty was a real serious dude too, Ty Gius. So they did a lot of dirty work for Ariellotta. Then he like sold them out and stuff after, you know.
Yep.
So
he's the biggest rat ever, dude. I see him all the time on fucking social media and YouTube and like.
It's not even like there's so many people have done like what he's done at this point. It's just his like attitude. Like if you watch his like Vlad,
I've seen it. Dude.
I just don't know. He just rubs me the kind of wrong way. I almost made a video just kind of like trashing him, and then I didn't do it because I don't want to do videos like that. But I was gonna call it like the Springfield supervillain or something like that. You know what I mean? Because he's bald. He's bald. I was gonna put a picture of like Dr. Evil next to him, you know, from Austin Powers. So I was gonna just shit on him basically because I think he's kind of like a sleazy guy. But I don't want
the worst, bro.
He just doesn't want to take
responsibility
for like anything. You know what I mean? It's like nothing. Nothing's his fault. Everybody.
If you listen to him, you think that he never did anything. It was everybody around him doing it.
Exactly.
Like that's why I'm like, why is he even being investigated? If all these other people are responsible, but he's not.
And like in between the interview, he just gets these like little like uncomfortable, like he just looks like like squirmy. I don't know.
He's like a little weasel snake looking motherfucker.
Yeah, he just
rat bastard.
Yeah,
you know.
But I don't want to make videos just trashing people because it's just I feel like that there's a lot of like especially a couple of years ago when I first started getting started like in the mob tube, there was like people who were just making channels just trashing other YouTubers and stuff like that. It's just the negativity stuff can just go downhill real quick, you know. So
well, I feel like we got a good live, bro. If you have anything else you kind of want to share before we go?
No, not really. I mean, just unless anybody else wanted to ask any questions or anything, that's kind of cool. You know, have people being able to ask questions.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. I wish we could do this more, man.
I'll pop on. Yeah, this is chill. Yeah,
it's cool. I like having these conversations, especially the live ones. It's raw.
Yeah,
people, you know, you get to see a true person. Like, you know what I mean? It's
exactly. Yeah, it's authentic. You can't like stage it. Yeah.
Yeah, so my girl said stay positive, and I think that you should, bro, because not for nothing, I've been watching your videos. Everybody watches them, and all they see is somebody progressing. They don't see any of the shit that you're going through behind the scenes. Like, they don't see like your struggles and your shit. But like, they see the progress in your videos. They see like a growing and successful channel. So don't stop, bro. Don't,
Yeah,
because
no,
they're
I
going through
appreciate
some
that.
shit.
Yeah,
You
and
know what I
all the
mean?
people that comment, thank you, and say stuff like that and encourage me, because I am a person that is like full of self-doubt, and I get like I get in my head and stuff all the time, be like, oh man, like I don't want to do this anymore, I suck, or blah, 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 whatever, you know what I mean? But like then people, I'll read comments of people like, oh man, I can't believe, like, dude, how far you've come, and you're gonna like you're gonna keep going, and da da da. And like so many people like will kind of like keep pushing me to, like, I mean, I'll be like out of gas, or like I don't have any more wind in my sails, and people kind of keep pushing me to keep going. It's like I can't let people down, like I feel like at this point, you know what I mean? So it's like people like kind of like believing in me and shit, you know.
No, in fact, it's accountability at this point.
Yeah.
People are holding you accountable because and let me ask you this, right? And I know this is a personal question, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm an asshole. But I watched B Luke's video, the interview we did with B Luke, and it looked like you were fucking high on that video.
I was wrecked. Yeah, that's the thing. So like when you said like,
oh, right.
Yeah, no, I was absolutely wrecked. It was awful. Like I told Kev I don't want to do it, but I didn't want to cancel it last minute and be like a no-show and have something booked and stuff. And I was like, dude, this is gonna be awful. I told him this is gonna be fucking awful, bro. You know what I mean? I woke up at like 4 a.m, dug an early tide, and like I was going through mad shit. I'm just saying, like, people don't see what goes on behind the scenes, but then like I started, when you go on podcast, you put yourself out there, and that's why I was like, fuck, man. Like that's why I was like, I knew when I'm going through some shit right now, I shouldn't be putting myself in front of people, and people like, yeah, man, you're like kind of the public eye to a certain extent now, so you have to think about that. So yeah, I mean, like I was eating like Klonopins, I was like going through some shit with my younger daughter's mother, and just like all this stuff was all happening all at once, and I was destroyed, dude. It was awful. Anytime I wasn't talking, I was like trying to like put my hat in front of my eyes so you wouldn't see like my eyes rolling in the back of my head. You know what I mean? Like I was talking, and then when I am talking, I'm like, it's like, come on, man, it's awful. I hate it. But it's like the thing is though, is like I went on there and I say in every single video at the end of my video is like, your decisions and your choices, and I made a choice to take fucking pills on a day that I knew that I was going to be on a podcast, and that's what happened. B Luke was like, I didn't even know you were fucked up. I'm like,
yo, B's straight fucking oblivious sometimes.
I was like, he's like, I never met you in person before, and I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. We've talked this many times and never met in person, but I was like, damn, bro. I was like, what do you think? I'm like, what I said some word, and Kevin thought it was funny. Like somebody who has like seizures because my eyes roll in the back of my head. I was like, yeah. But anyways, he was like, mad cool. He's like, dude, I'll take it down if you want me to. And I was like, how much of a hypocrite would I be if I'm saying in every video, be careful of your decisions and your choices, and then I tell my friend who has a YouTube channel, take the video down, it makes me look bad. You know what I mean? Right, behind the scenes. It's like, no, dude, leave it up. That's that's my choice. Now I gotta live by it. And so people gotta click on that. And there's so many people leaving the comments like, kid, the Red Sox hat's fucked up. I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You're fucking, you know. Right. And like I even said like right on there, I'm like, I'm banged up. This looks bad, but it is what it is, you know. So and then everybody best win. So it's bad though, because I have little kids. I don't want them being able to see that. I don't want people being able to watch that and then making fun of, like, talking, oh, your dad is fucked up, you know. It's like those are things like I have to think about, you know what I mean?
Right. So since then, have you kind of straighhthened out, or?
I got through it. That was like back in like January. Just I was going through some fucking fucked up shit happened like right before Christmas. And it was a rough couple of months too. I just kind of came back to my sanity like the past month ago. So that's why it's like there was all this shit happening with YouTube, dealing with the fucking people that I'm trying to get to make the videos. Some kid straight fucked us. We filmed a whole day's worth of filming, and then he just would not edit. He refused to edit it. He held all the footage, refused to edit it. All it's fucking crazy shit. So then I hooked up with this new kid, and that's when we did the East Boston video, and the East Boston video was fire. But then like it kind of like started going sideways, and we kind of lost like right off the bat. It's like we didn't follow it up, in my opinion, with like the right video, and that was like an argument we had behind the scenes. And then I was fucked up as well, and I wasn't making the right decisions. And then we just did a video, which was a fun day, but it was just like a joke video, driving around Bean Shooter all day. It was fun hanging out with Bean Shooter. Obviously, driving around Bean Shooter with Lowell all day is fun. Listening to him, he's a funny guy. But it was like it's not what my YouTube channel usually watches and stuff. And it wasn't like it wasn't the same production as East Boston. The next two videos weren't the same production. So it's like we lost the momentum right from the get-go. And that's like behind the scenes, we're all fighting with each other about it. Like,
well, no, look at this is the thing. We all poke ourselves a little bit too much, right? I think we're too critical of ourselves because that one video is not gonna lose your momentum, bro. I mean, maybe
well, it's just like that's what I'm proud of myself. I have very high standards of of what I want to put out. So if I'm putting something out that's not really what I want or not what I'm really satisfied with, I'm like, that ain't it, bro. That's not what I wanted. You know what I mean? And then I get kind of like I get frustrated with it because it's like I have in my head what I want, you know. So it's like when it doesn't execute properly, I get frustrated. So
absolutely.
So it's like one video ain't shit, dude. You know?
Expectations are a motherfucker.
But
yo, bro, I appreciate you for showing up, man. Bats Out and About said both of your videos talking to me and you that he said that they make people's days for a fact. So
appreciate you, brother. He's always supportive.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Bats, man. Salute to all you guys in the chat, man. Sean M, Mike Eels, Mr. Stiv, Bats Out and About, my bae, just everybody, man. My ma, everybody, Steven, Dave. Yeah, man. It's been a good one, guys. Hope you guys appreciated the content. I appreciate you showing up, Jason. It's been a pleasure. Great conversation. Good night. And Good night, bro. Anytime you want to get back on, I would definitely get you back on. We could do some whatever, allow people to ask you questions or after you do videos or whatever. If you ever want to do whatever, let me know.
That was cool, man. Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Good night.
Good. You too, man. Bye, everybody in the chat. Love you guys. I'm going to do it. Damn, it's working. Hold on. Yeah. Well, here we go. Let's see if my mouse will work. All right. W number.